Good evening and welcome to Jubilee Stadium. That in itself is already a fantastic achievement today in Sydney, a day on which it has rained and rained and rained, but a great credit to the grounds people here at Jubilee Stadium. This first Asian Champions League match of this 2021-2022 campaign can get underway, a long time uncertain though it was. This was meant to be the first of two qualifying rounds for Sydney FC, but Changchun Yatai having pulled out means this preliminary round match against the Philippines Kaya FC is a winner-takes-all affair. Emerge victorious from 90 windswept, rain-swept minutes, or maybe more, this evening. And your reward is a place in the group stage of the Champions League. 6 changes for Steve Corica then after his side made it 3 losses on the bounce in the A-League, 2-0 in the derby to the Wanderers, 2 in each line. Ben Warland and Connor O'Toole return in defence, Mustafa Amini and Max Burgess in midfield, while Bobo and Trent Buhaja come in up front. Milos Ninkovic and new Dutch signing Luciano Narsing fall foul of the 3 foreigners rule, which is in play in the Asian Champions League. Well, there is an Aussie connection in the visitors as we look at Mustafa Amini there, back in the starting lineup after coming off the bench in the derby. Sydney will need him to fire. Excellent 2 weeks ago in the loss to Melbourne City. And coming in, there's no Anthony Caceres either on the bench this evening. He's rested, so plenty of responsibility on Mustafa Amini's shoulders. Well, there's an Aussie connection at Kaya FC, the Philippine side that won the cup to qualify for this playoff match. Their coach, Graham Harvey, is the technical director of Redlands United in the Brisbane MPL. His assistant coach, Richard Greer, an Aussie, not to be confused with the famous actor Richard Gere, is also head coach at Redlands United and used to play for Kaya for 2 seasons. This is their first competitive match this year. They've been back pre-season training for the last 5 weeks. There are plenty of new faces in the side, including Jesse Curran, the Tassie-born Filipino Scotsman, who was part of the Central Coast Mariners Academy. Also returning up front for his second spell at the club, Robert Lopez Mendy, big Senegalese striker. Up front, the Lopez, he's married to a Filipino woman and takes that as a first surname. One of the key members of this squad is also the Trinidad and Tobago international Carlisle Mitchell at the back, who's played in his homeland, in Korea, as well as across the MLS, including with the Vancouver Whitecaps. He played in East Bengal for the Indianapolis 11, the Indy 11 as they're very coolly named, and has returned for a second spell at Kaya FC this season. Very much the cult hero. Well, the pressure is on Steve Corica, this Sydney side that would love to add a few more fixtures to what will be a very congested fixture list, but they need to get back to winning ways, and certainly after going 5 in the A-League without tasting victory, this match has all the makings of a giant banana peel standing in the way of Steve Corica and his side. Rohan Arumugan from India is our referee. He's being assisted by Sapan Kennedy and Arun Pillai. And the 4th official is Banerjee Pranjal. And there is Graham Harvey, a familiar face to Brisbane MPL fans watching this one, an Englishman who's called Brisbane home for about the last 10-12 years now, and is sharing the coaching responsibilities with their regular coach, 44-year-old Japanese coach Yu Hoshida, who also played for the club. Yu Hoshida coaches in the domestic competitions, and Graham Harvey is coach when it comes to the Asian Champions League. There is Milos Ninkovic on the left, with the family enjoying catching them on the big screen. And why not enjoy a corn chip as well for the occasion? Well, they have nothing to lose, Kaya FC, as we are all set to go. Having pulled out of last season's Asian Champions League. The A-League makes its return to the competition, not yet the competition proper. This is the playoff match that Sydney FC will be hoping will see them into Group H, where they will take on twice winners of the competition, Jeonbuk, as well as Yokohama F. Marinos, another very well-known club to Australian soccer fans, and Hwang Anjalai, who will host the Hub in Ho Chi Minh in the second half of April, should they qualify. But Andy Harper, they're going to have their work cut out for them, Sydney, on a difficult pitch, which will help level up the disparate quality of these two sides, as Mustafa Amini's early ball in, Carlisle Mitchell's header away, against a Kaya FC, who haven't played much over the last 2 years, really. A cup victory, which saw them qualify for this. They have the experience of a first ever Champions League campaign last year. And above all, Andy Harper, they have nothing to lose.
Yeah, g'day, Robbie. Look, there's a couple of warning signs for Sydney. Firstly, their own form coming into this game. 3 losses consecutively at A-League level. And that coupled with the fact that a one-off game, really anything can happen.
Well, that's a good ball into Bobo, but he just can't take it in his stride, goal kick.
Kaya FC this time last year knocked out Shanghai Port in the equivalent qualifying match, so they've got form. And then, I guess most eerily, Robbie, is the ghost of Brisbane's capitulation at this stage a couple of years ago. The infamous evening, not only the loss, but the number gate. The numbers were falling off the Brisbane shirts. It was just an all-round disaster for Brisbane that night, and one just hopes that Sydney don't repeat that.
And that was against Filipino opposition.
Indeed,
as well.
That's the cluster of omens coming into this one. Sydney really should be too strong, but we said that about Brisbane.
I can add another little omen to that list. This is a very familiar situation for Kaya FC. Last year they qualified for their first ever Champions League group stage campaign, courtesy of that victory, as Andy mentioned, over Shanghai Port, which was a huge upset, even if it wasn't a full-strength Shanghai side. But there's this another early ball in, and it's a good one to the back post, Barbarouses, and his shot well saved by Zach Banzon in the Kaya FC goal. First chance of the match, and good signs for Sydney. But I was just going to say, last year they were meant to be playing in this first qualifying game, Kaya FC, against Brisbane Roar, who pulled out, and they only needed 1 game to make it. It's lots of things coming together tonight, including apocalyptic weather, Andy Harper.
It's certainly been that. The pitch is in incredible condition, really, when you consider how much rain has fallen in the last 2 weeks in Sydney.
Barbarouses running onto that pass from Amini. It's beautiful play. And Trent Bahaja missing a clear header at the near post. Another second gilt-edged chance for Sydney FC. It's cleared by Carlisle Mitchell, the veteran Trinidad and Tobago international at the back. Grant with Rattray holds his place in the side. Max Burgess comes in. Now the chance to try and break forward. It will be a counter-attacking side for Graham Harvey. You can see Graham Harvey there. On the bench for this match is Richard Greer, another known to the Brisbane MPL scene. He actually had a professional contract with Gold Coast United before heading to Kaya FC to play 2 professional seasons before returning to the MPL scene. And here is an early chance, and the shot is very tame in the end, as it all looked to open up for Daiso Hirokoshi.
Yeah, Daiso comes into this game as one of the stars of the team. Very fast across the ground, good dribbling technique in that sense, out of the Japan cookie cutter production line.
O'Toole for Burgess, the cutback, Buhaja. His second chance of the evening, and they're opening up Kaya FC easily enough, but they want to put one of these away soon.
Yeah, 2 rather limp efforts from Brent Bahaja, firstly, as you called it a couple of attacks ago, the header was, or the potential header on goal was absolutely non-existent from Bahaja, and then that was a really tame effort. Good lead-up work, nice cut back from Burgess.
Corner for Amini, and the Indian referee just wants to make sure it's inside the quarter circle. First corner of the match, second corner of the match. Amini's ball in towards Wilkinson. Rattray only just gets there, and already you can see, despite the fantastic state of the pitch, all things considered, that there is going to be the odd uneven bounce, and the moment where the ball skids through, the moment where it holds up. Amini, that's nicely done with Bobo. Ball to the back post for Burgess. He'll keep it in play. Sydney on the front foot again. Burgess still cuts it across. Bahaja off the crossbar. It's still in play. And Kaya FC survive, and Kaya FC break. Big switch of play, looking for Daiso. Nice first touch. He might get a second chance. Barbarouses is there. Second start in quick succession for Costa Barbarouses, having missed the start of the season with a broken leg. It's his 5th appearance, all competitions. And the 5th in a row, but only the 2nd start. Bedic into the feet of Lopez Mendy. And Jovan Bedic, who has been at the club since 2013. He is the real leader, the captain. And he scored a fantastic goal in last season's group stage, a 2-1 loss to the defending champions, Ulsan. That first ever campaign, they lost all 6 matches. Kaya FC always, they have to stay alert. O'Toole's ball in, it's over Mitchell. Barbarouses, it falls to Grant, who puts it up into the wind. Oh, that was a really difficult one. Amini's done brilliantly. His pass for Bobo was picked off easy enough. Rattray, another one for Burgess to run into the box. Looking for options, Bobo. Oh, that's desperate defending. Throwing himself at the ball with head and all. As Mendy gets there. Goes down under the challenge of Ben Warland.
Good chances for Sydney. They're really making some good passage upfield. Burgess has been very dangerous. He's the last but one attack, but Bahaja did find an effort on target that had some punch about it. But there has been a couple of spaces in counter-attack for
Menzi. Caught in possession. Bahaja, who used his pace, and will have fond memories of the last campaign for Sydney FC in the Champions League. Trent Bahaja was on the score sheet a few times in the hub in Qatar. Here's Amini. Warland. Wide for O'Toole. Amini comes again. Ball to the back post. Barbarouses with Ryan Grant. He will have learned from that first cross that he put up into the window as it falls for Barbarouses again. Good save, Banzon. And it's attack versus defence. It's a bit like a training drill, and a little composure, and Sydney could already have almost put this one to bed.
Yeah, although keeper Zach Banzon's been on his game. He's looked very sharp right from that Barbarouses shot early. And here he held his feet well.
Kaya, which means we can in Filipino. So far, they've been able to do it. We've managed to locate the football. is Graham Harvey, the coach, who his first game in charge of Kaya FC was that 1-0 victory over Shanghai Port. He then took them to Thailand for the Champions League group stage last year. There's Richard Greer, 2 across from him. Very much an Australian link, even if Graham Harvey is an Englishman. Was Andrew Redmayne has landed heavily and taken a huge chunk out of the pitch. You haven't seen too much of Jesse Curran so far, the number 8. There he is closing down Rattray, the Tassie midfielder, Philippine and Scottish origins. Signed for Dundee United from the Central Coast Mariners Academy. Barbarouses with Grant ahead of him. Not a bad ball, and here's O'Toole taking over, getting down to the byline, popping it up towards Babu. Barbarouses again, back in again. Oh, and that is surely a penalty. And the referee just with the big wave away. Well, no VAR. Hard to get much more clear-cut than that, and we can laugh about it now and think, oh, isn't it preliminary qualifying match of the Asian Champions League? But you'd certainly hope that it doesn't come back to bite Sydney.
Unimpeded view. My reaction was exactly yours. Robbing life space. It's a clear penalty as you get.
Our referee from India, Rohan Arumgan, begs to differ. I'm sure Steve Corica won't be too worried, having seen how the first 12.5 minutes have gone. They're really struggling to put their foot on the ball, Kaya FC. They knew this was probably going to be the case. They haven't played a competitive match since the end of last year. Barbarouses square ball, cleared behind by Menzies.
Plenty of sights at goal for Sydney. Hit the crossbar once, forced 2 or 3 saves, and then also just had that very clear penalty claim, in our opinion, combined, waved away by the ref. So the attacks look good for Sydney. Yokohama F. Marinos lying in wait, you say, which is a bit of a repetitive theme, because they had to try and tackle the Marinos when Ange Postecoglou was coach. Now they get to take on the Kevin Muscat-inspired, table-topping Yokohama F. Marinos. 4 games into the new J-League season. Kevin Muscat started the new campaign very well. So should Sydney navigate this qualifying match, that'll be a huge matchup. Sydney v the Marinos.
John Book, Hyundai Motors as well, the other side in that group, and Huang Anjialai of Ho Chi Minh City. That's where the hub will be between April 15th and May 1st. Melbourne City are already qualified. They'll be taking on BG Pathum United, the Thai side, Jeonnam Dragons, and United City, the other Philippine side.
6 games in 2 weeks.
6 games in 2 weeks. 3 days, every 3 days. Neutral venue apart from the host club. As there, Mendy dragging down Paulo Rattray. Melbourne Victory, as has made the news earlier today, will be travelling to Japan, but a day earlier than they would have liked, which has meant that the Melbourne Derby will not take place this Saturday. They will take on Vissel Kobe, Andres Iniesta's J-League side, on Tuesday, looking for a place in Group J, where they will be up against Shanghai Port, Chiang Rai United and Kichi, the Hong Kong side who've qualified there, and it could be Melbourne Victory's 9th Asian Champions League campaign. That's 2 more than Sydney, who start their 7th. Well, we'll be hoping this doesn't officially count as the campaign proper, not yet. They have to qualify for the campaign proper, which would be their 7th. And last time, Andy, yes, not happy memories. Yokohama, F. Marinos, Shanghai Port, Jeonbuk, and Sydney FC in that group. Just 1 win. 2 draws and 3 defeats for Sydney, who bowed out bottom of that section for the 2nd year in a row as well in 2019. Australian clubs have so often found it difficult to commit to the competition as well. Sydney made it to the last 16 on just 1 occasion in 2016 when they finished top of their group. And part of Melbourne Victory's fixture switch up means that Sydney FC will not be taking on Western United at Leichhardt on Friday night, which was the plan and no doubt affected and would have affected Steve Corica's matchday selection here for this one. They now play Perth, in Perth, this coming weekend, which means Perth's game against Brisbane, etc., etc. We said after 12.5 minutes, Andy, that Steve Corica wouldn't be too upset. 4.5 minutes have gone and we haven't had a chance. We haven't seen a dominant Sydney in that period either.
No, they just turned off a little bit.
I've been giving a history lesson of Sydney's Asian Champions League.
Maybe they've been listening to it.
Hermini with Burgess, looking for the run of O'Toole. Cleared by Vincent Diano, one of 4 new signings from the ASCAR development team. So young, promising players who have their own team in the Philippine First Division. Used to be coached by none other than Sven-Goran Eriksson, the ASCAR development team. There is an age limit on players that can play in that side, and it's basically for the development of Filipino football that they get that experience in the top flight. One of the players on the bench this evening, Harvey Gayoso, joined the team on loan last season for the Asian Champions League campaign. He's back with them again for this campaign, along with Sandro Reyes, Oskari Kekkonen, who is wearing the number 6 shirt in the middle of the park, who's half Filipino, half Finnish, just 22 years of age. And Diano, the right back, the 4th of those youngsters in the side, earmarked as potential future Philippine internationals. Wilkinson. Is at the other end of a career from a promising young future international. The Sydney FC captain at 37 years of age. There he is. He's appeared in all 16 A-League matches so far this season, started all but one of them. Fantastic professional. Favourite of that group down there. Good to see the crowd has turned out, given just how put off they must have been by torrential rain, literally torrential rain in Sydney, and plenty of people affected by it as well.
And encouraged by authorities not to travel if you don't really need to, but the fans have decided they really need to.
As the flag goes up against Bedic, and They did.
And they did. Really need to see their team play and support them through this qualifying game, which is terrific to see. 15-odd minutes of pretty impressive, incisive attack from Sydney, but that's slowed down significantly.
And that would also have been part of the idea for this Kaya FC side and their coach, Graham Harvey, also just to, and no pun intended, weather the early storm, which came from Sydney. They only just weathered it. That shot off the crossbar, as well as a couple of smart saves from Zach Banzan. But whether it they haven't been stretched in the last 5 minutes, and Sydney will have to dig a little bit deeper here. They have barely trained since coming back in late January to begin preparations. They've got the cup that starts in 10 days' time. They've barely trained on a grass pitch. All their training done on artificial pitches back in the city of Iloilo, where the club is based. And that as well was something that the coaching staff had to take into account. They arrived on Saturday. They've been here a few days. They had a chance to train on the pitch before the rains came, as the header away by Mitchell. There's the control tower at the back, organising, a real leader, real experience, as well as it's a good turn from Bobo, and it's Carlisle Mitchell who got the boot in there, and I think he's won a goal kick.
It was a nice turn from Bobo, but good recovery from Carlisle. I mean, he looking what space to hit, but he thought, I'll accept the invitation of Bobo to roll it into his feet. He can use his technique and frame to try and make space, which he did very well, but Mitchell was there and effective. Strong start by he.
Plenty of experience as well. Moreland with Wilkinson, Redmayne. There was some thought that perhaps Hewitt Bell, who played so well when Redmayne was away with the Socceroos, might come in for this match. Corica dispelling that in yesterday's press conference. There's a high boot. See, there's plenty of wind blowing directly into the faces of the Sydney FC players. Amini has run himself into trouble there. Kekkonen with Curran. Square ball cleared by Wilkinson. Mendy was in the middle. Again, Kekkonen getting a foot in there on Musti Amini. Well played, Barbarouses. Back with red trade. Switch of play for Connor O'Toole. The youngster Diano gets it clear and wins the throw. Midway through the first half. The eagle-eyed amongst you may have noticed that Sydney FC have a new shirt sponsor, which they announced today for their continental campaign for the duration of the competition. So let's hope that they stay in it as long as possible, and that's a profitable partnership for all involved. Continental football is international football at club level is something that's really only open to footballers in Australia. It's something that should be taken advantage of, as here goes Trent Buhagiar. You can hear the cries of take him on from the stands. Barbarouses with Grant. Amini. They're well drilled, they're staying organised. What is essentially a 4-4-2 formation for Kaya FC as well. With Bedic and Mendy up front. Here's Burgess finding a bit of space for O'Toole, but again the ball just holding up. These aren't easy conditions for either side. Max Burgess can't believe it. There's a free kick there on Mendy.
It's very stiff southerly, which certainly interrupted with the movement of that ball from Max Burgess. Generally, the pace of Sydney's play, the pace of the passing, the speed of the ball movement has been decelerating almost as much as the wind has been picking up. They've been working in unfortunate opposites.
Flags up for offside. After it didn't get a touch on the way through. Again, you can see that difficulty in getting pace on the ball for Sydney FC. Mustafa Amini is a key element in doing that, but again, you can see that wind just intercepting anything that gets off the ground. Curran's touch for Bedic, and the Kaya FC captain is fouled. Jovin Hevas Bedic, Philippine international. And is one of those players that's come through many years ago now, because he signed for Kaya FC in 2013, but he came through the Azkal development system. His dad was a coach as well, and there is some Balkan heritage going back in the family. Izo. It's just about worth an effort from this kind of angle with that wind, isn't it, Harps?
Certainly from the other side of the field if they get the chance.
Ball in, and it requires Redmond diving. He's blowing an absolute gale, and they'll get another chance here. Daizo again. Strong influence of Japanese football in the Philippines. As that just comes back, and well, it was a little bit tongue-in-cheek, but not entirely. My comment just a couple of moments earlier in Redmayne had a heart-in-mouth moment there.
Yeah, I didn't take any sarcasm in your call at all. It's a big weapon from corners. Wind is really vicious. And nearly embarrassed Andrew Redmayne there.
In the end, you'd probably say it was a pretty good save. Here's Buhagiar on the charge. The cutback is behind Bobo. Burgess can't get there. Amini wins it back for Sydney. Now, can they try and create some sort of second phase quick transition play here? Burgess accelerates. Bobo. He wasn't really expecting it, I don't think. Maxi Burgess there, cleared by Diano. Amini with O'Toole. Buhagiar and Bobo in the middle. Barbarouses, it's another save. Buhagiar! And on the half hour, Sydney have their goal. Trent Buhagiar. It's been an age since he last found the back of the net, and that will do his confidence the world of good. And his love affair with continental football continues. Sydney 1, Kaya FC 0.
Well, I mean, he's been very prominent for Sydney in midfield, and Connor O'Toole hitting in a really nice cross when you consider the conditions. And in that context, Costa Barbarouses makes a really solid, good, safe contact on the ball to force a good save from Banzon initially, but all he can do ultimately is parry the ball to the feet of Trent Bahadra, who makes it 1 for Sydney.
And now Sydney can try and go on with it now. Eric Giganto can't control on the sideline. The throw was taken quickly for Sydney, who are looking to accelerate things now. Trent Bahadra's last goal, as there you see his career goals at 10 for Trent Bahadra, came against the MacArthur Bulls. 3-0 victory when the kids were sent out to play by Steve Corica. Woods, Burgess and Bahadra on the score sheet, but that was back on Boxing Day last year. So it has been a while between drinks for Trent Bahadra. Hit the crossbar as well earlier. There he is again involved. Giganto with Kekkonen, who's a former Finnish under-18 international. Finnish dad, Philippine mum. Born and raised in Finland. Has only just arrived. In Philippine football after a season with Azkals. He's now full Philippine international as well, senior international. Kekkonen, there's the Indian referee, wants to make sure there's not too much holding on in the box. Good ball in. Grant, oh, it could easily have fallen dangerously. Well, it did, but Kaya FC couldn't get a telling contribution on it. Retre has done that pretty well under pressure from Bedic, and here's Bahadra again. Little touch inside, clever for Barbarouses. It might yet fall for Babu. Burgess does well, but in the end only pops the ball up for Daiso. And dragging back from Burgess means free kick. Oh, and that's never a good sign. Just reaching for his hamstring, or high on the hamstring buttocks. There it is now with Arboleda into the feet of Mendy. Free kick goes Sydney FC's way.
I think firstly Max Burgess misread the speed of that ball. He looked like he took a few yards to appreciate that the ball was probably going to roll out. Then he had to put in that extra effort.
Well, every other pass he's hit has stopped in the water and the rain.
So you could forgive him that judgment. I'm with you. We'll keep a close eye to see if it's anything more than a twinge or a niggle.
As Mustafa Amini's been caught in possession again here. Here's Daiso. He's got Mendy, Bedic alongside him, Giganto in the middle as well. Closed down by Warland and Retre. And now it's not Max Burgess who's down. It's Jesse Curran, the Davenport-born player in his first appearance for Kaya FC.
He was stretching out in the last corner for Kaya.
And I just worry that it's not a knock, that he's got something a little more serious there. That's Richard Greer on the left of your screen there. Well, back into the fray.
I don't know why the game needs to stop for that. And with all football's wherewithal, surely they can come up with a mechanism.
And they've come back with the wrong ball. I think that was always going to happen, but there was a little panic there when the unwritten laws of sports personship were not about to be respected, or so it was felt. In the end, Eric Giganto returning the ball to Sydney FC. Now Buhaja in space, able to turn. Just kept in play very well by Costa Barbarouses. Grant. Ball in towards Bobo's, hurdled by Carlisle Mitchell in the penalty box. Curran gets it back. One over the top, ambitious pass for Mendy, especially with that wind. Eight minutes to go, plus stoppages in the first half. Sydney FC leading. Trent Buhaja on the half hour with his first goal of 2022. And it started brightly for Sydney FC. I think Andy Harper, and we know the conditions are not easy. It's a side low on confidence. 6 changes from the team that lost to Western Sydney Wanderers, but it hasn't been all that convincing so far.
A very good start, as you say, and look, there's a few factors at play, but the wind really has come up the last 20 minutes. Very difficult to play into the teeth of that. We've seen a lot of passes be unduly affected by the speed of the wind, and it's difficult to adjust, evidently. But they've got their lead. Need to keep their eye on the transition and the counter-attack, because, you know, Kaya have come with that game plan in mind and will be heartened by the fact that 38 from the start of the game, they're just the 1 goal down.
That's a good ball from Ryan Grant into the feet of Bobo. Barbarouses, but the quality on the cross is not there. He apologises to his teammates in the middle. Well, a result here for Sydney FC. Absolutely crucial. Ahead of a trip to Perth this weekend, one that Steve Corica and his staff will not have had a whole lot of time to prepare, but that's the nature of the beast at the moment with, after COVID, these terrible conditions, and things are a lot worse for many people around the country at the moment than rescheduling a couple of football matches, even if it is frustrating for all involved. But there is the financial carrot as well of qualifying for the group stage. And that 6 games in 2 weeks. game every 3 days. A great chance for Sydney FC and its players to measure itself and themselves against some of the best in the country, in the continent of Asia. So much talk about how they're struggling this season under Steve Corica, potentially the first in 6 years without a trophy for Sydney FC. While they currently sit in the 6, as here goes Paulo Retre. Well, he had Bahaja and Barbarouses charging up the right next to him. He went looking for Burgess. He's got it back again with Amini now for O'Toole. The cross in again, it's over Bobo. Barbarouses can't get there this time, cleared. Already, we know that there are sides coming up behind them on average points per game this season, which is probably a better gauge than the actual number of points they're on. Sydney find themselves outside the 6 already. Wellington Phoenix and the Newcastle Jets both with better points per games ratios than Steve Corica's side. The leaders in both departments go by the name of Western United. In the A-League men's competition, and sit proudly atop the tree with the game in hand on both second and third. Bahaja and Carlisle Mitchell clearing things up at his near post.
The first time since about the 15th minute that Sydney have actually been able to play in behind the Kaya defence in that manner. And when they did, the ball in from Bahaja, and Mitchell was in a good position on the near post to bounce the ball clear for Carlisle. They'll be determined.
As here's Amini, but the pass from Retre is overhit.
And Boyd, if they can get into the sheds just down by the goal, they'll take that as a huge victory in some ways. But Sydney have really just been going along in second and third gear. And they have a lot more in them, should it be required. Because the problem, and I'm not suggesting that Sydney for a second taking it easy, intentionally going slow, but they've certainly fallen into that. It's very difficult, can be very difficult to just flick the switch. We'll be hoping, of course, as the players will be, that they don't have to fall on that or call upon that they can consolidate this position. But they've played with good attitude, Kaya, good body language for a team that's had next to no preparation, not just for this game, but really over the last couple of years, a severe lack of football. They've come very positively to play here in Sydney.
Amini driving the ball in. It's a good one. Burgess's header away from goal. Warland is there. In fact, I think it was Bahaja. And it's another let off because it was a great ball in from Mustafa Amini. Well, Kaya FC will certainly take this. Is it easier, Andy, to play into the wind or with the wind in this situation, knowing that probably Mendy and Bedic are not the fastest up front and probably wouldn't mind trying to play some sort of more target play, but with the idea that you're counter-attacking, you're going to want to try and get in behind them. It's not easy. Will it suit the likes of Bahaja playing with the wind in the second half?
Well, then you've got to measure your balls over the top really carefully. because the ball does just fly away. But the theory is it's better to play into the wind because you can measure the ball better. But I don't really recall enjoying playing into the wind or any of my teammates. It just is not a pleasant experience.
1 minute of stoppage time at the end of this first half. Is there a surprise in store for Sydney FC? Kaya FC dinking it forward. And again, you see the run of Hervits Bedic trying to make things happen, but Robert Mendy was just caught on his heels there as well. And the chance goes begging. You can see how strong that wind is. It is really blowing in. There's a good ball from Burgess, though, and this could be the killer blow. Buhaja cleared. It's wasted by Bobo. It's wasted by Sydney FC. And they will have to settle for a solitary goal lead at half-time, courtesy of Trent Buhaja's strike in the 30th minute after good lead-up play from Costa Barbarouses in his shot, initially saved by Zach Banzen. Sydney have had more than that in terms of chances, but have failed to make it count. And at half-time, in a wind and rain-swept Jubilee Stadium, Sydney FC leading Kaya FC by 1-0. And we'll be back after the break with the half-time show. First in 6 years without a trophy for Sydney FC. While they currently sit in the 6, as here goes Paulo Retre. Only had Welcome back to a windy Jubilee Stadium in Kogarah in Sydney's south. It's a miracle. The game is even. Going ahead, we're at half-time. Sydney FC leading Philippine Cup winners, Kaya FC, by a goal to nil. The winner of this into the group stages of the Asian Champions League. It would be a 7th campaign for Sydney FC. And as you can see from the stats, they dominated the first half. There was a little soft period in the middle where neither side really managed to get on top, but Sydney started very well and finished the half on fire as well. A good first 15 minutes, a good last 15 for Sydney FC. And the moment that separates the two sides, we saw plenty of crosses from O'Toole towards Barbarouses at the back post. A good save initially from Zach Banzon in the Philippine side's goal, but Trent Buhaja, who'd hit the crossbar earlier in the half, finding the back of the net that time, Andy, and probably no less than Sydney FC deserved.
No, of course, and in one sense, or in that sense, Trent Buhaja had 3 sort of efforts before then, hit the crossbar with 1, so he was probably due. Sydney's best players in a half, which they dominated, probably Barbarouses with that touch, and Trent Buhaja with his goal and 3 shots. We said one of them had hit the crossbar. Passing accuracy only 73%. Very interesting then when you look across the stats board. The Sydney pass completions are very good apart from their strikers. Bobo and Trent Buhaja haven't broken 75% in pass efficiency. So that's something that might be worth talking about in the sheds at half-time.
Let's have a look at all the chances then, and it started very early inside the first 2 minutes with Costa Barbarouses just getting Zach Banzon into his game. There was plenty of crossing from both flanks for Sydney. Barbarouses involved. O'Toole on the other side a lot early in there. The first chance for Buhaja.
Yeah, it's the second time we've seen that, and I still don't know what was going through his head. Not much, evidently. Certainly not looking to make contact with the ball. That was a tame effort as well. These are the efforts to which we referred. There's one to come, which is when Buhaja hits the crossbar. All these were before he scored the goal, which separates the teams. Burgess has been busy. He's found adjusting to the very windy conditions a little bit difficult. Here's this shot on the spin from Trent Buhaja, so over the 3 chances, edging closer, and he scored with his 4th.
Barbarouses drawing another fine save from Banzon. It was still scoreless at this stage before that goal finally came on the half-hour mark. The conditions not easy here at Jubilee Stadium, not by a long shot. There was one moment, a big talking point in the first half that was also at 0-0 Hearts, which was the penalty shout. How can that not be a pen?
Yeah, I don't know. I'm assuming the ref had a great view on it, but maybe Max Burgess was blocking that view slightly. And every time we've seen it, it just gets more of a penalty.
Well, let's have a look at what's coming up for fans of the A-League men's competition. Tomorrow, 3 matches. Central Coast Mariners versus Melbourne Victory. That game was green-lighted earlier today. Melbourne City versus Macarthur. And then the Knicks, who are up on the Central Coast as well as part of that doubleheader, take on the Newcastle Jets. Big midweek action, and then here's where it's all changed, so get your pens and papers down and jot it down. Brisbane Roar against Wellington Phoenix on Saturday. Western versus Melbourne City, top of the table, first versus second. Sydney are on the road to Perth Glory on Bold. Macarthur take on Western Sydney in the Battle of the West. And then on Sunday, Adelaide versus the Jets. Tuesday, Perth are back in action at home, their 3rd home game in a row against the Central Coast Mariners. Let's head off to the break then, Andy Harper, and we'll be back with all the second half action after these messages.
When my mates bring their plus ones, who bring their plus ones, we're gonna need more McNugs delivered. Welcome to my world.
The 40 Chicken McNugget Pack with new spicy sticky barbecue sauce.
At this time of the year, we're at the mercy of the elements. Scorching sun and humidity so thick, it just sucks the breath right out of your lungs. And while I love it out here, there's nothing like leaving the outside right where it belongs.
Be in the game to win the ultimate adventure holiday in Queensland. Enter at 10-play win. From bush to beach and sea to sky, Queensland is packed with adventure.
Hey, Mum.
Hey, Mum.
Hey, guys. I'm thinking takeaway again tonight.
Yeah.
Before you choose junk food, think about what's really on the menu. Eating it too often can make you put on excess body fat, and that increases your risk of 13 different types of cancer. If you want to live lighter and reduce your cancer risk, don't treat junk food as everyday food.
I would consider us a collective of designers.
Being able to work anywhere is important, especially now.
With Windows 11, we all do different things. Nias is doing illustration.
What's awesome is to be able to combine your fingers in the pen.
Purdy is doing editing.
It's just so much faster for me to render these clips.
Carlos is doing animations.
You have the snap tools, and it's so responsive.
We've been working together from pretty much everywhere.
With Windows 11, we're just doing it better.
This is a great day for New York. Together, we are taking a step forward into our future.
Power belongs to old New York, my dear, not the new.
Perhaps the time has come for a new chapter.
I'm tired of being cut on my own doorstep.
This does not impress the people you want to win over.
This impresses everyone.
It's the road to the finals, and Sam's playing a big game.
With power comes a degree of burden.
She double-crossed her closest friend.
Sammy has Jesse's idol. I would love to get revenge for my brother.
Sunday, her secret will be revealed.
If I can expose Sammy for being a snake in the game, it would be the sweetest revenge. Sammy's going to get blindsided.
When no one's talking to you, you know they're talking about you. I need to get a grip. I am freaking out.
Survivor, 7:30 Sunday on 10 and live streams on 10 Play.
I heard 1,000 stories, but none could describe this place. It must be witnessed to be understood.
I admire your courage. You're gonna pick a fight you can't win before long.
The road west is filled with failures. We are in the land of no mercy now.
When you choose Allianz Comprehensive Car Insurance, you can choose to save on your premium by simply increasing your basic excess. Search Allianz Car Insurance to get your quote today.
Asian Champions League preliminary stage action from Jubilee Stadium in Sydney's south. Conditions not easy, but the match, which was for a long time in doubt today due to the torrential downpours that have hit the harbour city for the best part of a week, really. The pitch is in miraculous condition. You can see the humidity 93%, but at least the heavy rain has stopped. There's plenty of wind out there, 33 kilometres an hour, and it's not warm, 19 degrees with that wind and rain. It's not easy for playing football. The win will be, as Jesse Curran, the Tasmanian-born Davenport, of Scottish-Filipino descent. The former Central Coast Mariner Academy player rejoins the action in the middle of the park. It's his first season with Kaya FC, his first match with Kaya FC. And Kaya FC thought it was hard running against Sydney FC in the first half. They're going to find it doubly hard into the wind as well. They'll have to keep the ball on the pitch as they look to counter-attack through that man in particular, Robert Mendy, the Senegalese striker up front. Played for the club between 2016 and 18 before joining the crosstown rivals. Sydney FC get this second half underway. There were moments of brightness in an otherwise cloudy sky in the first 45 minutes for Sydney FC, one of them coming from Trent Buhaja when he scored his first goal of 2022 to give the Aussie side the lead at the break. Andy Harper, obviously they'd be confident of going through now, because all the talk we've heard out of Kaya FC, a side that have just played a handful of matches really in 2 years, surely they can't keep going the distance against a Sydney side in the middle of a season.
No, you'd expect not, but of course that all presupposes that Sydney are going to get the goals they need to be able to relax, because everyone who's been watching football for any period of time will realise it doesn't matter how tired you get if there's only one goal as the deficit.
As that ball might yet fall, here's Burgess, Babou, and barely a minute into the second half, and Sydney FC have that second goal, and it's not a classic, but they all count. With the wind at their back, Sydney FC have made the perfect start to the second stanza. Babou on the score sheet, Sydney 2, Kaya FC 0.
Well, Babou leading the charge through midfield, and already the Kaya midfield themselves finding it difficult to get back in numbers, and they reacted just a little bit slowly. Again, Zach Banzon doing well in the goal, but that's from Menzie, just an attempted clearance which really lacked focus. The midfield for Kaya didn't recover. There's Giganto just getting back a little too late, and the damage had already been done.
The flag is up for offside as they look to catch Sydney FC napping from kickoff, or Steve Corica can breathe a little easier, courtesy of that Babou goal. He's got 4 in the league this season from just 3 starts. Mind you, all his goals have come off the bench, Babou. He has been involved. He's 37 years of age now, Babou. Ninkovic, who's watching from the stands, the same. Alex Wilkinson, the same. In the centre of defence, there is some experienced players in this Sydney side, and certainly experience is very important. But they also need that youth, don't they?
Adam Lafonda on the bench too. He's into his 30s. And they've got...
Oh, as referee this time. Well, he didn't give a penalty in the first half to Connor O'Toole when he was scythed down, but he didn't hesitate this time. Barbarousa's pass into the path of Ryan Grant, who was clipped as he charged through by Fitch Arboleda.
That's a really good burst from Ryan Grant. And Arboleda mistiming things. Ryan Grant had the spinnaker up too, taking full value of the stiff southerly. Babou to the spot to make it a brace within a couple of minutes.
The ball's just rolled off the spot. That's how strong the wind is here at Jubilee Stadium. Babou against Banzon. And he went the right way, the young Philippine keeper. But Babou adds his second of the night, Sydney's third. And 4 minutes after the restart. Sydney have put some breathing space between them and their opponents in this quest for Champions League group stage action. Cleared long. Here's Burgess. Outside. Barbarouses with the big clearance. No way through.
Well, he misread the speed on that one. Barbarouses, speaking of speed, certainly describe Bobo getting to the brace.
Just 3 minutes between Bobo's first and second goal. Grant's touch only finds Jesse Curran. Giganto. Down that left wing, they've kept it in play. Curran still. And they didn't keep it in play in the end. Left the Mariners for Dundee in Scotland. Jesse Curran played a few matches there, headed out on loan. East Fife was one destination for him as well. Last season, he was with Muang Thang, the Thai side. Paulo Retre. Now here, Burgess. Oh, going the little chip.
Well, if you can measure it right, and you've got to have really fine touch, it's a good option. And he just pulled back that little bit, didn't get the direction obviously, but the contact was otherwise good. We'll put it this way, had the right force, and you can really catch the keeper napping. Sort of pitch it up into the air and let the southerly carry it.
Here's Amini. And a little chip with the wind behind it can be certainly a dangerous weapon. Wouldn't mind seeing a corner and someone trying to hit an in-swinger and see if there's not a little Olympico in there somewhere. It's the night for it, Andy Harper. Retre. Curran.
Ref forgot to put the whistle in his mouth. The decision was so obvious, he thought the players would stop and adjudicate themselves.
Goal kick, Ryan Grant putting the pressure on. Now, Andy, in this situation, against a side that, on paper, aren't going to cause you any more problems, there is a question of motivation. Do you take your foot off the gas? Do you start thinking about, or do you just start really trying to enjoy it? Override them, show plenty of respect to them and the competition by keep giving it your best, and also get some goals, get some confidence up for everyone.
Yeah.
Barbarouses into the box. One thing's for sure, Kaya FC are going to keep going. They're going to keep giving it everything. They're an ambitious club with ambitious coaching staff, and they're on a very steep learning curve. from that fantastic first playoff win a year ago to a first Champions League group stage campaign. Here they are again, having barely played. But this is all important information being garnered for the club's DNA as well, for their future. Away trips, performances in different conditions.
Philippine football is very much on a growth trajectory. They made the last Asian Cup where they...
As it's over the top for Bobo again on the left. And the flag stayed down. He should have done better, really.
Where they performed with credit under coach Sven-Göran Eriksson. And Southeast Asia, of course, Thailand, Vietnam, Philippines, Indonesia, Malaysia. Nice ball over the top from Buhaja. Just lifting his balance slightly. Bobo to have completed his hat-trick inside 10 minutes. And we've seen with Alan Sajic and the Philippine women's team, just how the whole country, heavily influenced by American sports, and basketball is massive. But football is definitely a growth prospect for the Philippines, and it's a massive region for Australia. That's just the sheer volume of population in Southeast Asia and their passion for football makes the whole place a real opportunity. Now, Philippines, in truth, are down towards the rear end of that league table of development. Look at Thailand and the way Vietnam are going at the moment in particular. But there's just so much potential for this part of the world, and the Philippines are realising it. Maybe to the party a little bit late, but they'll keep investing, keep building. Games and tournaments like this, and with what Stadge has done with the women's team, all helps.
It's so important for the 2015 champions Australia not to get left behind in this development game in Asian football. Here's O'Toole, he's got Burgess there. The early pass is a good one. Square ball, appeals for a hand from Max Burgess. Corner it is. And it's going to be the right foot of Mustafa Amini over to take this corner, Andy.
You're going to get what you wanted. I thought that was a good shout for a penalty too, actually.
Yeah. And it comes in near post. Headed away by Mendy. Amini again with a big up and under. Buhaja won't get there.
No. Good call from the ref. Really good call. Not even close to a penalty.
It hit the arm, but it was tight against the body. Amini on the charge. Barbarouses. Buhaja with Ryan Grant, and again Sydney forced to just play around the perimeter. Barbarouses. Wilkinson with Ryan Grant again. Amini. Buhaja. Ryan Grant again for Barbarouses. He gets there, the cutback cleared by Diano. And another corner, this time on the far side.
It's a better half from Sydney. Sort of answers your question, I guess, theoretically, Robbie. Do you prefer to play into the wind or with it? And they've measured their passes well. They've had, given the context and the disparity in the team quality, they've kept up a reasonably good level. Got some goals to give them the breathing space as well.
Burgess, in it comes. It's a good ball, and it's Curran who got the glancing header. Really difficult conditions to attack and defend in from a set piece, and it will be another corner this time as we approach the hour mark. From Mustafa Amini, a couple of kids on the bench for Sydney FC tonight. Warming up behind the goal as Banzon punches clear for another corner. 3 in quick succession.
I think Banton has done really well. That's a difficult thing to navigate. We saw the one looping effort that Redmayne had to defuse in the first half, nearly embarrassed him.
This time he does try and give it some work. Max Burgess, and the little look suggests perhaps he was trying for something. So here's another one of these promising youngsters for Graham Harvey's side. Harvey Gayoso coming into the game to replace Fitch Arboleda, the man that gave away the penalty in the 48th minute, tucked away by Bobo. So first change of the match. Attacking one at that. And 3 changes coming for Sydney FC. All of them youngsters of varying degrees of experience. Van der Sarg, the most experienced, with plenty of appearances and goals to his name. Next would be Patrick Yazbek, who had a fantastic season until a little hamstring kept him sidelined, and then with just 14 minutes to his name in his career is Adrian Segicic, who's going to come into the contest as well. So bringing the changes, Barbarouses, Burgess and Retrate coming off in the middle of the park. No change in defence, so Van der Sarg probably higher up on the right-hand side in place of Barbarouses. Yazbek for Retrate in the middle of the park, and Segicic for Burgess on the other side. Segicic, a youngster from the academy that he joined in 2016, as here's Van der Sarg, the cross towards Buhaja. First touch for Harry Van der Sarg. Daiso, we haven't seen too much of him in the end after that good period midway through the first half. Confirmation of that change for Adrian Segicic. Here he is with his first touch, as Yazbek is dispossessed by Curran. And the shot from Giganto. Redmayne gets it clear, and it's one carried by the wind for Buhaja. Buhaja still going, and it flashes across the face of goal. Didn't really have any other option.
No, but you notice on that attack how Bobo, despite the encouragement from the bench, just showed no intent to try and get up on the last line. He immediately went for the cutback, and that could have been a midfielder's job. Bobo bust your guts to get into the box, to hit to find or be found on that square ball. I thought that was a telling.
He didn't really give Buhaja any option either, really.
No inclination to make up that ground at all. It was really telling.
That's a good ball from Jesse Curran for Daiso. Back for Curran again, a little touch for Daiso. Shape to shoot, now Giganto's ball, back post towards Bedic. Just couldn't bring it down under pressure from Ryan Grant, who can bring it away, and here's Adrian Segicic. It's a lovely switch of play for Buhaja. He's done brilliantly to keep that in play. The ball running away with the wind down into that corner. Bobo just losing his footing as that ball arrived, I think. Put him off a little. It's a good touch from Mendy. Curran again. One for Daiso, but Warland is there. There are big wraps on Adrian Segicic. Already talked about in Australia under-16 circles, but also Croatia youth international circles as well. Went on trial as O'Toole keeps it in play and crosses in. The header was not a convincing one. And now Amini, who was neither 6 of one nor the other there. Segicic went on trial at Manchester City, Liverpool, Rangers and Ajax last year before returning to the academy, playing with the MPL side. Melisa is coming into the game for Eric Giganto. There's also Corey Holman is on the bench, another of the youngsters with just a couple of minutes to his name, Jake Holman's little brother. His sister plays for Sydney FC as well. And there's a first appearance on the first team bench for Jaden Kucharski, another Australia under-16 international from the Sydney Academy ranks, who's on the bench wearing the number 36 shirt. The run of the new man into the area, Melisa. Brand under pressure from Bedic, wins it back and finds Mendy.
A little bit ragged there from Sydney. I have to say, the last 5 or 10 minutes, they've found a bit of football, Kai. Jesse Curran has been instrumental in leading that charge. The Sydney substitutes have probably just changed the shape of the game enough for the Kai to move into those newly available spaces.
O'Toole for Segicic. Challenged by Diano. It often takes a couple of minutes when you make 3 changes, particularly if it's 3 attacking changes like that, to find your rhythm and your combination play and for everyone to get up to the speed of the game.
And in the case of the players who've come on, they've been rusty as well. You know, Yazbek hasn't played for a while. Pandasag we haven't seen a lot of. So to Segicic, they're going on to a team that's being spearheaded by Bobo, who's played mostly off the bench. Musti Amini's not really hit full-time speed yet. So it's a very bit-part Sydney team at the moment, and that's the space that's been created. And to Kai's credit, they've been able to move into those spaces and just get the ball upfield.
What you've just outlined, though, Andy, is a little bit the story of the season so far, isn't it, for Sydney FC?
Yeah, exactly. But it's a great opportunity, this 3-0 up against a team that you should comfortably...
And will
comfortably defeat. Will comfortably defeat on the evidence to get this game time into people.
Yazbek and Segicic come away with the football. Pat Yazbek again with Amini. He was a really good surprise for Steve Corica's side this season. Segicic forward for Buhaja, and the big sliding old school tackle from the big old school Trinidad and Tobago defender Carlisle Mitchell. Patrick Wood, another like Trent Buhaja, who hasn't scored since that 3-0 win over MacArthur. His only goal of this season, in his only start of the season.
And in this disrupted season, it's the second time you've referred to that MacArthur game, but you'll recall the commentary going into that game that Sydney were in a bit of a hole. We've got to find some sort of answer or some sort of circuit breaker here, and that was a discussion around how well the kids did. All this time and all these weeks later, with all the disruption, etc., the same discussion around Sydney. 3 consecutive losses coming into this one, finding it difficult to go through the gears. A very disappointing performance in their loss to the very dominant Wanderers. It's a season that's just not really getting going for Sydney. Maybe qualification for the Champions League will give them that little spark that has not been readily evident so far for a lot of this season.
Buhaja and Babu coming off for Wood and Lafondra. And Andy, I'll raise another point, something I was thinking in preparation for the Wellington Phoenix match last Sunday, which in the end never went ahead. But
is this a 3 a.m?
It is actually. It is. It's a sleepless night epiphany. I was looking. Ufuk Taleh's side played 5 matches in 2 weeks. Really, every 3 days, more than 2 games a week. They got 5 in there. It was for 4 of those matches unchanged starting 11s. So found the rhythm and went for it. It was their best period of the season. 4 wins and a draw in that 5-game period in 2 weeks. They then had 2 weeks off, which has now turned into another week off because the game was called off again on Sunday for Phoenix. But this opportunity coming of 2 weeks and 6 matches in a hub where you're away from home, where you're just focused on football, where it's going to be very competitive. Everything, if it all comes together, because no one was really expecting it to come together and click for the Phoenix, when it all did, it could happen. And not just for Sydney FC. Melbourne City have been going well. Melbourne Victory, if they qualify as well. And it could be something that could potentially change a season the way it has for Phoenix.
Momentum's a very important thing. And Wellington found that sweet spot.
I think there was only one change announced for that Phoenix side again that was playing before it was called off, as Adam Lafondra, barely on the field for a minute, gets his name on the score sheet. Amini's cross providing the danger. And Adam Lafondra getting back amongst the goals as well. That will do his confidence the world of good.
Well, it's broken his mini drought, Lafondra.
Not such a mini drought, actually. I've got the stat on there as well as going back a long way.
Good ball in from Musti Amini. He's been terrific tonight. Mustafa Amini, and can be a major contributor for Sydney. He looks short of a gallop still to me, and that's an important part of tonight as well, getting him to run out the 90 if he can. And finding Lafondra, who heads cleanly, makes good space, and now sets up Patrick Wood.
Can't keep it in play. Adam Lafondra, 2 goals in the A-League this season. 2-2 against the Jets, where we saw Valentino Yule strike twice to come back, and then again a 2-1 victory against the Knicks in the 5th game of the season, well before Christmas. So that header for Adam Lafondra will be very welcome for the Englishman as well. Sort of gone through phases of having goal scorers. Caceres got 4 goals in quick succession, 2 from the penalty spot as well. Bobo and Burgess have been chipping in of late. Lafondra with Wood, back out for Grant, who let fly from distance. And it's another corner for Sydney FC.
Good positive half this from Ryan Grant. Won the penalty with a very positive run, and again, just drifting into that space, but with real purpose. And when the ball fell to him, he only had one thing on his mind. Mustafa Amini. I just wonder if any of these corners from this near sideline, he'll actually change his mentality and have a shot at goal from here.
Well, not that one, but it almost ended up in the back of the net off the head of Bedic, the Kaya FC captain. But again, it's just always dinking the ball into that front post, not trying to give it any whip or dip. Just let the wind work its magic.
How much do you reckon? Oh, mate, the security guard's got his eye on the clock there.
Immovable. He's statuesque, isn't he? Lafondra does well towards Segacic, lurking in the box. Yazbek getting involved. Wood with Amini this time. He does have a shot, but not from the corner. It's wide of the mark.
Didn't really sit for him. It was terrifically aggressive play by Yazbek. And to win the ball, the contested ball, just outside the penalty area. The pass out to Mustafa Amini didn't quite have enough on it.
Yazbek, when he was playing earlier in this season, did give them that little bit of steel, doesn't it? I was mentioning earlier that the idea that he's one of the real positives to have come out of this first half of the season when Bratton was injured.
And they've missed him since he's not been available. I think you're getting to that point. Rob, and I agree with you.
Grant with Amini. Lafondra hurdling over the ball. Sydney FC, who qualified for this competition, courtesy of finishing second last season. Here's Patrick Wood. There's Lafondra's clever little touch. Kaya FC Andy qualifying courtesy of the Paulino Alcantara Cup, which for historians of the game will be very interested to hear all about. Not necessarily in its current format, but who it's named after. And I'm sure a few scholars of our round ball game will know all about Paulino Alcantara, who was born to a Spanish father and a Filipino mother late in the 19th century. Travelled to Spain, played for FC Barcelona, became the youngest ever player to play for FC Barcelona, returned to continue his studies where he qualified as a doctor in Manila, as the flag is up against Van der Sar. Returned once again to play for FC Barcelona, where he became the all-time leading goal scorer, only to be surpassed very recently by a certain Lionel Messi. He scored 369 goals for FC Barcelona between 1912 and 1927. I think Lionel Messi went past 400 comfortably in the end for Barcelona, but it's a fantastic story. He was both a Filipino international and Spanish international, a little bit like our own Apostolos Llano, if you will. Also represented the Philippines at table tennis, Andy Harper at an Asian Games. History lesson number 2 finished.
It's brilliant, Robbie. I love that you get insomnia. You're certainly curing mine.
There's a chance for Wood. Amini. And the effort from Segicic, just across the face of goal. So close to a first ever senior Sydney FC goal for that young man.
Well, it would have been a nice moment for the youngster who's got plenty of promise. A good sighted goal there.
Now here's Mendy. 15 minutes left. They're playing out 90, a number of these Kaya FC players, and they must really be starting to struggle as well physically. Big switch of play for the substitute. Gayozo went without it. Amini takes over. And then Amini just taking his eye off the ball for a moment. Trent Bahaja, who gave Sydney the lead on the half hour. 2 quick-fire goals at the start of the second half for Babu, followed by Adam Lafondra's 4th. Oh, it was just overhead.
A great punch coming out of midfield again, and just look, Zegicic, of course, the number 31, has looked sharp, but Yazbek really biting, churning through the field and challenging people, taking his teammates with him. He just sets for a youngster a really great level, a great understanding, and a great standard. And 80 minutes in, nigh on, we really should pay tribute to the ground staff. The pitch is held up magnificently.
Grant's cross is watched near post by Banzon. Well, I think most of both sides, and you can see the rain is really coming down now again. Spent all day basically hoping the game would go ahead, a little bit like all the commentary staff as well, Andy, who were hoping that this game would go ahead. A chance for the first continental football of the year at club level. Bedic comes off, gives the captain's armband to Mendy.
Well, it was a game that needed to be given every opportunity to play. Kaya are on the plane out of Sydney tomorrow.
Early tomorrow morning.
And the word out of the stadium was that the AFC match commissioner was going to keep a kick-off window open for 4 hours to get the game played. So if at 7 o'clock...
We could have been playing tomorrow.
We could have been. The pitch inspection first was at 5:30 p.m. this afternoon. It's just held up really well.
As here's Lafondra, who drills home his second of the night and Sydney's fifth. And now Sydney FC are making it all worthwhile that the game went ahead. For those fans that have weathered the conditions as well, it wasn't an easy night to come out and watch the football. As you can see the look in the faces in driving rain. But Adam Lafondra, it's a good night for him as well. Bobo has 2. He has 2, his first goals of 2022. Bohaja breaking his drought.
Well, the long goal kick into the teeth of the wind. Look at the ball hold up, and there's Yazbek again. It's a really intelligent pass from Paddy Wood. It's a really tidy goal. Great destroying work in midfield from Yazbek. Lovely first-time ball from Patrick Wood, and a really, really professional touch from Lafondra to get the ball into his finishing position to make it 2 for him.
And there might be another chance here. Well defended. At the back now, Kekkonen. With Curran, Melisa there to help out as well. Bypassing Sandro Reyes, the number 21, the latest player to come into the action. He wanted a bit of the advantage there. There was none after that foul on Oskari Kekkonen. Menzie under pressure, holds his ground against Pat Wood.
It's a wonderful bit of jiu-jitsu there from Menzie. Patrick Wood was odds on to pinch that and run away with the ball. I don't quite still work out how Menzie got himself out of that. It was an expert piece of defending.
Jesse Curran. Square ball with Sandro Reyes. He's the 4th of those youngsters coming from the Azcal's Development Academy, the number 21. Little 1-2 for Jesse Curran. He's come through the 90 minutes well. It's a lovely cross as well. And Mendy couldn't get there, neither could Gayozo. And Sydney can try and break forward again here. Van der Sar gives it away.
I don't know why. He just didn't roll the ball to Ryan Grant.
Here's Sandro Reyes again. Gets it back from Curran. O'Toole feels that that was more than a little fortunate. Here's Daiso. Daiso against Warland. Curran again. He drew in Segicic, skipped past him, trying to get the ball into the dangerous area again. They're out on their feet, Kayo FC.
Just a bit ragged from Sydney too. Stevie Corica expecting more in the closing stages of this game. Jesse Curran on his return to Australia has looked really good in this second half. And he definitely looks to have emptied the tank.
3 years since he's been back due to COVID and everything else. A great chance for him to see family and friends. over the last 2.5 days in Sydney as well as train. Here he is again. Diano inside with Reyes, but they've stolen possession again. Away there, Carlisle Mitchell. You can see how important he's going to be. There is a clear spine in this Kaya FC side, and they will get better for the football that's coming as well. It doesn't look like there's going to be another group stage for their Australian-based English coach, Graham Harvey, to get his teeth into this year after that inaugural pioneering campaign last year. It's all great experience for the coach as well, who's coached in the Chinese women's setup as well. Had a one-off shift with the Guam national team as well in Asian Cup qualifying. There's the ball in, and Mendy with just half a chance, but probably just about the best chance in well over an hour for Kaya FC. Also had a spell, Graham Harvey, with Eastern in Hong Kong as well, so he's developing his Asian football experience. No matter where he's travelled, there would be few times he's experienced rain like this.
I think they get a downpour or two in the Philippines. Not that this coaching journey's taken him necessarily to the Philippines, which is bizarre. Of course, Brisbane's been known to get a tropical downpour or two. But it's chucking it down again here.
Segacic keeps it alive. Curran, I think that's a bit of cramp this time for Jesse Curran as Daiso with a good run forward. And still going, looking for Mendy, but his new captain's run had just run out of edge. 3 minutes left, plus stoppages in this one. 1-0 at half-time as the chance for Le Fondre. And the referee has ruled that out, I think, for handball, and I'm not sure. It was a handball. Referee there saying yes. Clearly came off the hand or arm of Adam Le Fondre, who seemed to suggest it was all thigh. Well, he was close to a second half hat-trick. Bobo was probably fancying as well. Grant with Wood. Gets there, Yazbek. Good switch of play for Segacic, who keeps it in just. Pass into the box, Amini. Back out with Le Fondre, who wants it on the right foot, and that's fire from distance. Oh, was it a hand or not? Le Fondre was always going to deny it anyway.
Yeah, I think it's a little unlucky to have that goal rubbed out.
Well, hopefully for everyone concerned out there, including our security guards, there won't be too much stoppage time added on from the referee.
And then for folk to get home through this.
He's wearing football boots, our security guard. Oh, as the little chip towards the back post, I thought that might have been coming round.
Standard fare now for the security guard.
Yep, I just realised that. getting very difficult now for Kaya FC to keep going, but they've battled hard. Here they come again, Daiso. Their Japanese midfielder with their Australian current. No foul by Yazbek, who got a whole lot of ball and also a bit of the player. Grant stays on his feet. He wants to take the free kick. And Carlisle Mitchell just putting himself about. Will pick up a yellow card for his troubles. 3 minutes of stoppage time. And he says no problems to the referee, but he's still going to get his booking.
There's another Kai player down with fatigue.
Play on then, Andy Harper. Amini wants Mendy back the full 10 yards. Ben Warland, who got the nod ahead of Donachie today. O'Toole ahead of Talbot in this fullback role. Amini ahead of Caceres. There were plenty of choices made by Steve Corica at kickoff. We'll have a look at the revised fixture list before we say goodnight tonight as well, because Steve Corica was thinking that they were playing Western United on Friday night. That's no longer the case with the scheduling of the Melbourne derby. The big news to come out of tonight is that Sydney FC will be joining Melbourne City in the group stages of the Asian Champions League. They'll be taking on, in Group H, in the second half of April, Jeonbuk Hyundai Motors, Yokohama F. Marinos of Kevin Muscat, and Huang An Jia Lai, the Vietnamese side that will be hosting their Harbour, as there might be some late joy for Kaya FC and the chance that presented itself to Jan Melisa. Their best chance of the evening coming in the final minute, and it would have been reward for a courageous performance.
Yes, two really intelligent passes. Firstly, from Curran to Mendy, and then Mendy to Melisa. It was a fantastic chance to really cap off what's been a brave performance in difficult conditions against a flotilla of superior armoury.
They're still fighting for everything. Curran and Kokkonen in the middle of the park. Hermini gets it wide to Grant. The early cross. Lafondra is there. Is that off the post? It matters little as the full-time whistle blows, and Sydney FC are in to the group stage of the Asian Champions League. It means more football, it means continental football. For Sydney FC, a 7th Asian Champions League campaign for them. And there is no second miracle for Kaya FC, who qualified via this route last year, and victory over Shanghai Port. In the end, Trent Bahaja gave Sydney FC the lead in the first half of what was, in the end, a workmanlike but uninspired Sydney FC. They stepped on the accelerator in the second half, where doubles from Bobo and Adam Lafondra in the end made the score a whole lot more comfortable. It's finished at Jubilee Stadium. Sydney FC 5, Philippines Kaya FC 0. And so let's have a look at the goals and how it all happened. They'd hit the crossbar, there'd been penalty shouts, Andy Harper, but in the end, 5 goals, just what the doctor ordered for a Sydney side that had been misfiring of late.
Yeah, that's a good point to make. They coughed and spluttered a bit in that first half. Either side of some good football. This was their only reward. Zach Banton in the Kaya goal did very well despite, in the end, having to get the ball out of his net 5 times. But Barbarousa's very strong tonight. Mustafa Amini a very solid 90 minutes. And Bahaja, having flailed at the first 3 chances he had, nails his 4th. And the second half, Babo finished things really quickly. The Brazilian midfielder making his way into the box and just not able to really come out of the sheds with the required zip, Kaya FC, which is unfortunate for them because they acquitted themselves so well otherwise. But this was a really sleepy start to the second half, and a tap in for Babo to make it 2-0, give Sydney the breathing space. The penalty that was to come from Ryan Grant finished things, and then it was academic. How does Stevie Corica run through the subs? Can Kaya get a consolation goal? Ryan Grant had a really important second half. I thought he has not been at his best this year, and his second half was much more dominant. It's a great run from him to win the penalty, and as we saw through that second half, he was full of that running through the whole second stanza. Babo making it 3, had a chance for a hat-trick himself not long after that. And then it was Lafondra's turn. Englishman for Brazilian, but the same outcome. Great header off the 6-yard box. Nice ball in from Mustafa Amini. Dealing with the wind nicely in between defenders, and Lafondra makes it 3. And the score now 4. With that completed care of probably Sydney's best goal of the night. Yazbek seeing 3 Kaya players away. Patrick Wood, a superb pass. First time of asking. And a really comfortable and polished finish from Adam Lafondra. Super touch and a calm finish to make it 5.
Well, Sydney FC too strong. Let's have a look at the stats that just confirm everything we just saw. In the end, 7 shots all the same for Kaya FC, including that excellent last effort. Robert Mendy had a bicycle kick at the start of stoppage time before the number 13, Jan Meliza, wasted a gilt-edged opportunity to get some reward for Kaya FC. In the end, Sydney FC just too strong in what were, we reiterate, very, very difficult conditions here at Jubilee Stadium as well. But in the end, everything there indicating that Sydney FC were largely the better side, reflected on the scoreboard as well. Let's have a look at what's coming up then for you on Network 10 and Paramount Plus. A-League men's action before the finals of the women's kick off at the weekend. Tomorrow, 3 A-League matches. The Central Coast Mariners against Melbourne Victory kicking all that off. And then on the weekend, Brisbane Roar, Wellington, Western United, first versus second against Melbourne City. Sydney are away to Perth Glory. MacArthur take on Western Sydney in the big game on Saturday night as well. Adelaide versus the Jets on Sunday, and then a week from today, that's 10:05 p.m. Perth time, Perth Glory taking on the Mariners in their 3rd home match in a row in Perth. Plenty to look forward to coming up on Network 10 and Paramount Plus. Your Isuzu Ute A-League men's action, but from myself, Robbie Thompson and Andy Harper, we're looking forward to more Asian Champions League football coming up soon. Until then, it's bye for now.